I need us to clap our hands and welcome the online audience. Let's welcome them in, all right? They're lovely people, okay? People that love to learn and people that are not giving up on themselves. Let me tell you, this generation, you need to be able to be at the forefront of you fighting for you, all right? Because if you don't, no one is going to fight for you. No one is going, like it's scramble for what? What do they call? Partition and scramble and survival for the fittest. So the moment you say, oh, I am not fit, people are leaving you behind. No one is taking you anywhere. So, but you showing up and saying, I want knowledge, I want to learn, I want to keep growing. Now, that is amazing. That is amazing. Remember what we're talking about today is how to get to your next level of assignment. How to get to your next level of assignment. All right? And so many of us have had all the good words. We have had the good words of, you know, you're going, some of you have even had prophecies, okay? You have had people speak into your life, you're going to be okay. How many of us love reading some of those things on social media where people are writing, you're going to be okay, you're going to, there are those encouragements, and some of us have actually screenshot them. We have and we have never revisited them. We have never read them again. But we keep, you know, pumping ourselves, and it's good to actually keep pumping ourselves. But when we come here, okay, when we come here, however, my prayer is that God will feed our backside of life, because as people helpers, as business people, as people that have committed themselves to be at the forefront, okay, it's only the timid that are in the background. The timid do not say yes to their callings. The timid do not look for knowledge. They stay behind. But the moment you come out, then you are a soldier. So now we are going to train you as a soldier to fight, okay? And soldiers are given the crucial kinds of trainings so that they can be resistant, so that they can thrive, so that they can be able to bounce back, so that they can be resilient in life. And that is what we are doing. So if you keep asking yourself, why do we keep coming to this place? You should have given us just a formula and say that, you know what? What do you want to be? You want to be like Bahati? Find your niche, number one. Number two, know their problems. Okay? Yeah, we are good. Number three, look for solutions. As in, I can give you that. Let me tell you, even in the 1 hour of me meeting you, okay, you will know what to do from A to Z. Why do we keep coming here? Is because we need the strength training. Because the footballers, they would have, you know, in those off seasons, they would have bought the soccer players, and they'd be like, this one is going to be good. This one has been performing well. This one has been performing well, because everyone is looking for who is going to boost their teams. Guess what? They would have said, these ones are already made. They have trained. So we are just taking them to the big seasons, to the big leagues, and they're just going to sit in their homes, drink, chill, and then when we tell them it's time for the match, that is when they come. Is that what happens? No. Because they are soccer players, they will even do normal practices in their normal lives, but again, this is what happens. When they are close to the opening of the seasons, they will go to camps. That is when they will give them rules. You do not sleep with any woman, not even your wife. That is when they will tell you, you do not drink this, you do not drink coffee, you do not drink, as in, they will give them all those things. Why? What they are looking at is the performance of 90 minutes. 90 minutes. But how do you run from goalpost to goalpost without... I am losing it. I am dying. How do you run without collapsing? But you realize they will do practices for 6 months, for a year. Actually, from the time they started being footballers, every day of their life is, whether there is a big match or there is no big match, whether they are on the bench. Because we would have said, as a coach, you know those that are going to play. So now you take those ones for practice. These ones that are on the bench don't need. No. If injury happens or something happens, you need to be able to trade. You need to be able to bring someone from the bench that is actually trained and ready. Do you see how whenever they show us that they are going to change, the other person already has started pacing around? Why? Because they want you to warm up. That by the time you get into the field, you don't say, ate maso pool, ate what? No. As in, they are jumping, they are sweating, even when And some of them, they know that, by the way, when so-and-so gets out, so-and-so, according to how I see, they're starting to come, their strength is coming down. So so-and-so is going. Before they even announce that they want to change, someone is already pacing around, or 3 of them are already pacing around. And guess what? The 3 of them, chances are they even don't know who is going to be selected to get into the field next. So someone will ask, why do we need the constant motivation, the constant learning, that is why we need the constant learning. That when you get to the day of your delivery, when you get to the day of showing up on CNN, when you get to the day of showing up on BBC, when you get to the day of showing up in front of 1 million people to speak, what you have amassed for the past 1 year, what you have amassed for the past 2 years, as in, you will come out and you will be unbelievable. And sometimes you will also, your own jaw will drop. You'll be like, did I say that? Have you ever listened to yourself and you're like, nah, this is too good to be true. Where did I get those words from? Why? Because you have been at it. Otherwise, for some of us, there are some of us who want to read only when we are going to sit exams. And guess what? You overwhelm your mind. You're like, I have a speaking engagement. Oh, I am going to preach. And then that is when you're reading John, you're reading Genesis, you're reading Revelation, you're reading as in, and because you have now this chance to go and stand in front of people. And then when you get there, you are sweating when it is cold. When people look at you, you start vibrating, the mouth is vibrating, you don't know, you're holding the paper, but it is shaking. Where is all? The training is very crucial. So when we are here, this is a training camp. This is the resilience. This is the building of the muscle. And let me tell you, some of us, long after we have gone out of this place and maybe 5 years from now, you're going to look back and say, I wish I still have that camp to go back to. You get it? Because some of the benefits of being here, you are going to see them 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. When they announce your business as the biggest business in East Africa and Africa. When they announce you as the most eloquent speaker in the continent of Africa. And then you're going to say, this woman used to be a bit mad, but she used to tell us things. She used to tell us things, okay? So, now, that is why we need the backside management. This is the backside management, okay? Before you are unveiled out in the world, you need the backside management because the front side it looks rosy. How many of us, you see pictures of people, and even when businesses, you see people making sales, you see people proclaiming and telling you how much money they have made. Guess what? They have ignored posts. Ignored content. I shared something today, and that every entrepreneur goes through those things. You know, moments of self-doubt. And you're like, am I really called to this? Did I just copy someone? You know, like why the self-doubt will be there. There are times you will have sleepless nights. There are times you will want to change your business. There are times you will want to downsize it. There are times you will go through those. But do we talk about those on interviews? No. On interviews, you're like, oh, I came from poverty to what? From grass to? Grace. And then everyone is saying, oh, you inspired me. You inspired. But the thing is, when you were going mad with self-doubt, but the people closest to you doubted you and tried to pull you down, and you were about to give in, but God would not let you give in. That you woke up the next day and you put on that lipstick and went again. You woke up the next day, you networked again. You woke up the next day and you're like, you know what, I will subscribe to groups with like-minded people so that I can feed off them and their strength so that I don't build in isolation. Okay? So we need the teaching, the trainings to anchor us so that we can step into everything that God created for us. We don't want to step into just one thing. Some of us are multi-talented. How many of us here, you know yourself, you are multi-talented? You've tried to box yourself to do one thing, but you know? You keep editing yourself, you keep saying, yeah, I wish I could just do one thing like so and so. But the mind thinks about this. You think about another thing. And you're like, like me, I'm everywhere doing everything. No. The moment you will have to resign and get to the knowledge of knowing that some of us are multifaceted. We are not just meant to do one thing. And the day you try to do one thing, that will be the most boring day of your life. You'll even go mad. Do you know there are people who go mad because of underperformance? Yes, because of underperformance. You're not performing to your capacity, and yet you have a bigger capacity. So now you feel stressed because there is something else that you're not doing that you must be able to do. All right? So one thing is we are all super gifted, okay? We are all super gifted. And so many of us are trying to even save the people that don't want to be saved. Now, some of this training today, we are going to agree that there are people that are never meant to be saved by us. They can hear another person's voice, but maybe they will never hear your voice. Just like some of your family, they will hear another person speaking, and they'll be like, yes, but you spoke the same words, and they called them rubbish. All right? So now, you are not called to go and force yourself on people. Not even as a business person. We all have clients. And chances are, maybe the people that buy from so-and-so are not the ones that are going to buy from so-and-so. But maybe you'll have the same product, you'll both have salons. And both salons will speak and attract different kinds of people. So you saying that, you know what, no, they should all be mine. They should not know. You cannot deliver to people that do not want. So your issue is, yes, I am called, yes, I am gifted, but I am going to give of myself to those that are going to receive me. All right? And the good thing is we have the platforms. So people decide when they come to your content, do you know why people are following you and your pages are growing? Do you know why? Because some of you might think that you just wake up one day and people just follow you. No. When someone watches one piece of your content and it speaks to their heart, they say to themselves, I don't want to miss this content again. Let me like their page and follow their page so that every time they post, I can get. That is the only reason as to why people are following you. Yes, some of them follow you because you were an OB and all of a sudden, or an OG, so they landed on you and they're like, eh. And now those ones, they want to see what is happening in your life. Those are monitoring spirits. She lost so much weight. This is not just weight loss. There must be a sickness in there. This girl was everywhere in school, but see, she's not married. I have gone through all her content and she's not married. Monitoring spirits. Yeah, so there are people who will follow you just for monitoring sake. All right? They're like, let me peep what is there so that I can see, so that they don't get better than me. Okay? So that I can see. That is why people go to these places, take so many pictures, and then they keep posting the whole year because someone was, so someone was asking, but so-and-so is always out of the country, like every single day of their life. And I'm like, but what is the problem with being out of the country? Now, kumbe, that person was actually working themselves out. You know, monitoring. You're monitoring someone. I was like, but that is her life. And then that person was like, I think you're kumsofana nyibunji, ateka yo katono. And sometimes you don't know what to say to such people. You get it? Why? Because they are working themselves up for no good reason. If that is her life, that is her life. Let her, as in, what are you doing? That means that being busy with our callings, being busy with our roles that God has given to us and our purpose is going to save us from certain headaches. Okay? You cannot be a monitoring spirit. Then that is stooping too low. Like you do not have an assignment in your life. If you have an assignment, your plate should be full of how do I help these people? How everywhere. Do you know, have you ever seen that the day you started to take your calling and your purpose serious, you're starting to see problems everywhere? That is when you see women that need help. That is when you see, and you're like, Kale, chigambo chimo wechiti chandi muyambi. But maybe they are not even willing to hear that chigambo chimu. So I don't want you to force yourself on people. No. Build a brand that speaks for itself, that people can never say no to it. A brightest light that everyone that sees it wants to walk towards it, and you're not just calling everyone, hey, look here, I'm the one with the best content. Look here. No. Seek to be authentic, that whoever finds relevance in what you have to say is glued onto you and never wants to go away. So that means that you have a lot to do on yourself. All right? And then being gifted comes with being misunderstood. Being gifted comes with being misunderstood. So if you are still addicted to giving explanations, then you are not ready for the next level assignment. If you still have an addiction of explaining yourself to everyone, okay, so that they can like you, so that they can need you, so that they can understand you, you don't need to be understood. All right? You don't. But you're too young to build that business. Who says? Okay? So that addiction, some of us are addicted to explanations. You know, Akale, I just want to do this course just to pass time. Why? Because you don't have anything to tell them. And why? Because you think that they will think of you the wrong way because you went to do a certain course. Some of us keep editing our lives too much. If you keep editing your life, you are not ready for the next level assignment. Because God needs soldiers that will not look back when he says, do not look back. He needs soldiers that are not going to explain to everyone why they are putting on the kind of uniform they are putting on. Like kale mbadde mbayambako buyambi kale obambalirako uniform yawe ne kale uniform kale chibi chiriawo naye just why? Because while we are maybe uniform bya majevivi. How many of us have edited ourselves? I know I have edited myself at some point when I was starting so that I can fit in people's myopic boxes. Because they thought Bahati should be like so and so. Because they thought as a woman you shouldn't be that vicious. You shouldn't be that powerful. And then you shouldn't be, no, you can't buy a car because again, then who is going to come into your life if you have a car? You know, then you should not rent a nice apartment because then men can be intimidated by apartments. When a man tells you to take you out, allow to go to a chibanda. Because then when you tell them Serena, they'll be like, Mama, that kind of money. Why should I keep editing myself? If God has blessed me, he has blessed me. So if you want to step into the blessing, step into the blessing. If you don't want, disappear. Sorry. Why should I beg people? So it's not me who really bought this car. Let me tell you, there are women that have gone to dates on a border when they have cars. Why? Because they don't want to intimidate a man. And then they will say, oh, I live with my sister. Why? So that they can edit themselves because they think a man will only accept what is less. So that means you have to be less for the rest of your life to fit into that man's life. Let them know that you're a kingdom representative and you come with everything that you have to come with. So that, with everything. So that when they come to you and they choose to be your friend and they choose to hang around in your life, that they will love you for the right reasons. That you don't need to edit yourself. It's tiring. Do you know that editing yourself is tiring? Making yourself who you are not so that you can be accepted is very tiring. Some of us have even edited our prayerfulness. Like, they will call me too spiritual, so let me just pray small. So that, you know, I should not just, guys, if you want to go to your next level assignment, take on the fullness of who you are and who God created you to be. That you speak too much, that is okay. You take up people's spaces, that is okay. Be radical, take up the space. You realize what Zara told us sometime? It was like, you go to these places and you leave the place without speaking anything. And then someone will be like, but Mama, she wants to be at the forefront and she wants to be saying things. What? So that what? Say them. And let me tell you, that is how you inspire certain people. It's like, I want to be like her. Even next time, I'm going to fix myself there and say something. And then before you know it, there's a whole tribe of women that have come out of their shells and they're saying, you know what? I deserve to be here. I'm not going back. Some of us are supposed to break certain cycles. But you cannot break those cycles while you're still editing yourself. So if you're still addicted to giving explanations about what is happening, you're not ready for the next level assignment. Now, while I was thinking about this, I was thinking about Jonah. I know that we've talked about Jonah at some point, but still I wanted to bring it as an example. God tells him to go to Nineveh, right? I mean to go to Assyria. And he decides to go where? He decides to edit his assignment. He has been given an assignment. It is very clear. But look here. I had to go back and read the history of Assyria and Israel. And this is what happens. For those of you that have been following the news, you will even understand that Assyria and Israel were enemies. And that at some point they used to kill people and even behead them and put their heads on the fences of Syria. And some of the Assyrians will even bring their children. They kill their own people, Assyrians, and then they tell their children that it is the Israelites that killed. So now they would bring up their children with this hatred of, those are our enemies. And yet they would kill their own people just to make sure that they nurture people from childhood to show them that those are enemies. So even if you grow, never forget our enemy. Our number one enemy is Israel. Now this is what happens. God, in all his knowledge, he comes and sends someone to Assyria. And all he's thinking is, these are killers. All he's thinking, these are enemies. All he's thinking, and so he's only saying, this is an impossible mission. Why do you send me to a place that is unsafe? Now, I had this vividly, that most of our callings and the things that we are going to do are not necessarily safe. The most safe thing and sane thing would be you looking cute and nice. The moment you came out here, you came to a World War I, World War III, and World War IV all together in one in one statement. And now you have to figure out you are fighting even with the people that need help. They don't admit that they need help. So that means it's very unsafe. Whatever you're going to say, everyone is going to, we've seen better motivational speakers. We've seen people talk about relationships and they are so good. And so everyone will be comparing you to someone. And so like it's unsafe. It's not. Minding your business and staying in your home and staying in your small business and, doing small things is very safe. You're not bothering anyone. But the moment your business grows, you are unsafe. You're chartering uncharted territories. Like that woman, how do you think her business grew big? I think she's sleeping around with people. And you're like, what? You get it? So that means you are getting into unsafe territories. Whenever you say yes to your calling, you're getting into unsafe territory. Why? Because you're going to get into people's business. Okay? So you realize that now he decides and says, you know what? I think I should divert and make my own mission. A simpler mission. A manageable mission. But these things of sending me into zones that are not safe, I do not want. So he assumed that Assyria should not be part of his assignment. Just like some of us are still battling and you're thinking, but women are big-headed. Women are big-headed. I will come here, Smanyi, God has called me. Smanyi, I have a calling, I have a purpose to speak into their lives. And the women, you get it. And then the men cannot listen. Some of us have resigned. That is why you see so many women networks of, me, I talk to women, I help women, I do this. Why? Because women have seemed to be a lot more accepting than men. And then when you call women, and then men are saying, but nowadays everything they create is for women. Whenever they call you, you don't appear. For example, we have very few men in this place. And I really highly commend the men that actually make up to growth spaces. Because that means that they have a future that they want, and they have certain cycles that they want to break, and there is a growth that they really want. So can we not assume about our purpose and about our calling? Okay? Let's not choose the soft ones. Let's not choose the easy one. Let's not choose the most understandable one. That, now talking about God in this generation is very hard. Let me just stick to coaching. I just give you 9 principles of how to get rich. Let me just stick to those, because when I bring about God, people will just say, now she has gone. And yet we all believe in God, right? And we all pray to that God. And we all want that God to hold our hands and take us to the promises that he has promised our lives. You realize? So now, when you keep editing yourself, that, you know what? I can't. That one, I cannot. So I don't want us to assume that certain things we are not called to. Assyria can mean a season in your life where God calls you into assignments that feel very unsafe. And sometimes it feels like a disruption. Do you know that some of us have been disrupted? from our normal lives, our normal programming. Our normal programming is you wake up, you eat, you go do the job that you studied for, and then you go back. You give birth, you take back your children to school, and you are satisfied with that kind of life. Now, God comes and places a need in your life. The reason that's why we are all here is there is a longing in your life to do more than just normal. Right? If we wanted to do normal, we would not be here. Because normal does it need training? No. Eating needs training. Sleeping in a small house, does it need training? Operating a bad marriage, does it need training? It doesn't. Like, it is normal. But the moment you want to engage another gear of making this marriage better, then that is work. The moment you say that, you know what, I have gone through certain things, but I do not want other women to go through those things. So I am going to lift a flag of peace and tell the women that you do not have to die without money. You can actually make money, you can flourish, you can save, you can invest, you can enjoy your life. God did not create any woman to suffer. But do you know that saying that is declaring war against some men? You're spoiling our women. You are spoiling. Ogenda wa Bahati? Ogenda wa, you get it? Because most people that do not want growth, they want people that they can manipulate. Because they don't want growth, they want people that they can easily convince. So now, how dare you grow out of your shell and want something more? And you're like, no. Yes, you've been paying me every month, but I want to know what it feels to make my own money. Okay? Yes, I am here and I'm okay because I'm in a house and you're providing everything, but I want how to learn to fight battles. You know? Because that makes me strong. You want to be able to pass on a legacy to your children to know that this world is not for the weaklings, but this world is for the strong, and the strong take it by force. But while you look cute and sleep and eat and by the way, when you do that, you even start to imbaliganga zija, entondo ngazija, like seriously, when you're a nothing doer, every bad habit comes onto you. That is how you even start overspending money that you're not making. When you wake up in the morning, you're like, I will brush later on around midday. And then midday comes, you have had lunch, and then you're like, oh, the day has already gone. I will brush tomorrow. And then you tell yourself, oh, I am going to wake up and smell nice and look good. Guess what? When you wake up and then you put on a lesu that is which color? Red. Uganda flag. Never green. Those dark colors. Dark brown. You even strategically buy it. And then you put it here. And then you start walking, you're doing your things, you're doing, and like the day goes like that. And you're like, but I don't have any function to go to. Let me know. I will not plait my hair. I will only plait my hair when I have a function to go to. Now, your life has gone. It has gone. And then you're like, but no, I can't be in a home and then I put on sunscreen. Let me just wash my face and walk around, And like seriously, some of us think when we stay at home, you don't need to put on a sunscreen or you don't need to put on a moisturizer or no, you have to do your normal routine like every day you do it when you're getting out of the house. So you think the sun only gets you when you are on the road and not in your home. You think you only need to moisturize for outsiders. Do you even know what moisturizer you're using? My friend, you're doing it for your own skin. You're saving the damage that would happen next year or next what? And you're saying, no, I want to have a youthful skin. And I have to feed it. All right? And then some of us, you even buy specific clothes. And then you buy those big, you just put it on and then, the deras. You just move, whichever, You realize? So now that's different from people who are working from Monday to Friday and then maybe they get to do all those weird things just on a weekend or something like that. But there are people who are doing it from Monday to If you stay home, do you need to work out? How do you even dare say, I want a gym instructor, or I want to hit that gym? I think your husband will be looking at you and saying, gym, you stay at home. You want gym? For what? People be thinking that we put on for other people? Yes. That we even work out for other people? No, we are doing these things for ourselves. Hey, you guys. So those seasons where we feel unsafe and it disrupts our normal programming, that, for example, some of you have gotten ahead of us and have known that you cannot just put on anything and get out. When you start being a people changer, a world changer, that means people are not just looking at the words that you're saying or hearing them, but they are looking at how you look. So now you have been disrupted. That I was used to doing this, but now all of a sudden I have to do this. Do you know that disruption comes even in the way you respond and react to things? That when a bank teller, when you would have given her a piece of your mind, she has taken too long. Then you look around and you're like, one day I will have clients coming from these people, and then they will say, maybe they see me on social media, and then social media can get us out of our comfort zones. And then you're like, you know what? It's okay. It's understandable, but you are swallowing. You feel like you would have said something. So you realize that your calling and assignment will disrupt your normal programming. What you would have otherwise done, all of a sudden, you can no longer do it. Say anything, do anything, dress anything, or just be anywhere. Do you know that some of you are even going to edit places you go to? I was like, so someone finds me in this place, and then all of a sudden I'm saying something in their life. How do they reconcile the two? Like, how do the two exist in one statement? No more disruption. But maybe you're a girl and all you're looking forward to is get a boyfriend and start sending nudes and, pose for the camera when you're naked. But now, the wise you says that no nudes, no cameras. Why? Because I'm building a personal brand, and 5 years from now, when I have broken even, maybe that is when Masembe will decide to release that news. Like, seriously. So it edits your normal programming, what you would have done as a normal person. Now you put yourself in a place, by the way, and I think this is a place of God. That God, there's a way Tim explains this and says that your assignment, your purpose is God gets a little bit of his burden and he places it on you. When he places it on you, you start being concerned about his creation. You start being concerned about the people that you want to help. And so God is like, yeah, finally, I have a kadonki somewhere who is also working on my behalf. Because how else would God move and come and help us if he does not use people? So God uses people to help us. And the devil uses people to disrupt us. And let me tell you, sometimes God can use the same person to help you and use the same person to disrupt you. Have you ever seen that? And you're like, but that is not how she was. And then all of a sudden, they have flipped. And that's the most painful. That is why even the Bible says that your greatest enemy will be in the house, in your house. Because then if it's a stranger betraying you, they don't know much about you. So you're like, you even don't spend much thinking about it. But when the person you've been eating on the same plate, you prayed and believed God. And you're like, but it wouldn't have been so and so. It wouldn't have been so and so. And that is why betrayal pains. Why? Because the people that betray, strangers do not betray you. Strangers can hurt you, but it's the people that are inside your circle that can betray you. Because betrayal comes from backstabbing. Okay? So now God has given you a little bit of his burden, but his burden is not safe. That is why you see people with their callings. Have you seen journalists that go to cover war-torn zones? If it's not passion, then tell me. Because it's not about the money. It's not. Otherwise, if it were about the money and the war breaks, they would have said, no, I'm not going there. But the people there are people who have passions to being in the front line all the time. Like, they will even say, give me that jacket. You know those Red Cross jackets? Give me that jacket. And sometimes some of them don't even have the training. The ones that have the training are timid. The ones that don't have the training are the ones I am going in between the bullets. Where it is the hottest is where their head is. They are trying to resuscitate someone, to make them breathe, to see whether there is injury, to rescue people, even taking dead bodies out of those zones. But that is passion, because they have a burden and they're like, no, I would rather sleep hungry but see some children eat. That is God's burden. That is why we are so passionate about the things that we are doing. Otherwise, if you're not passionate, when the going gets hard, you would have given up. Because it's easier to give up. But when the going gets hard, that is when the tough keep going. You keep going because you are tough. All right. So I just wanted us to go through some definitions. But most of the times, have you ever considered this, that sometimes as soon as you get a bit of comfortable, there is a milestone, something to jubilate or celebrate, that is when the disruption comes in. That is when you feel like, you know what, I think I've been serving so much at this job, I think I need a job that challenges me. Why do you think people are looking for jobs that challenge them? Otherwise, the jobs that they had were comfortable. And then someone will tell me that it is routine, I've been doing the same thing, I want to do something that is not routine. So you realize that so many times our comfort zones are going to be broken. When you feel you have achieved, you have made a stride, you have mastered something, and this I'm telling you right now, because some of this message, what we are talking about now, is going to make sense later. Do you know that as soon as right now you are wanting to master this, you are wanting to be a very good public speaker, let me tell you, the moment you get to a place where you're breathing and you're like, I'm a bit good, God is going to surprise you. He's going to come with something else, and then he's going to make it a burden on your heart. And then you're going to find yourself like engaging another gear. Because you're saying, let me just do this. Let me call it. Speaking to people looks cute. You make a tribe of people, a community of people, and then you help them. And then you think that is where you're going to stop. That is not where you're going to stop. Okay? So now I must be able to warn you right now that your next level assignment is harder than what you are engaging in right now. Now, this is the starter point. So start, make party, look good. But there are times you're going to have a sleepless night and you're going to question yourself and say, am I just thinking about this, or God has put it on my heart? But let me tell you, God speaks to us all the time. And he's going to put some certain things on your heart that are even bigger. Why do certain businesses get bigger? Because when someone masters the art of, making yogurt, and then all of a sudden, like, I've been making yogurt for the past 5 years. Now you feel you are kafuru. And then one day, a thought drops in your big head of doing ice cream. Before you know it, you're learning about doing ice cream. You're like, and in your heart of hearts, you would have said, or even other people will tell you, but you have a good business already. You've been doing yogurt for all these years, and it is easy. You have mastered how to do it. But now all of a sudden, you're like a headless hen. You want to venture into ice cream. And then before you know it, you want to venture. So that is how people have merchandise lines that are wide, and then you ask them, how did you start? And then they will tell you, I just had bad hair, and I wanted to have good hair, and so I just did aka oil. But before you know it, my big mind would not settle. Before you know it, I was making pomade. Before you know it, I was making smanyi curling, smanyi gel. Before you know it, I was making, and then a whole line has widened. And it's easier to market a small business. But as the businesses get bigger, that is when even witchcraft comes in. People that are dealing in hardware down there, they wake up with frogs in there, and they know about this woman. She's just a woman, but she's operating with capital of 500 millions. And then you wake up with weird things, okay? Even heads of cats. They're thinking we should get this woman out of business. But meanwhile, you're thinking of getting her out of business. She's thinking about opening another branch. It would have been easier to stay at one branch. It is manageable. You are there every day. But your big head tells you it's good to open another business. And before you know it, there is another business. Okay? So you realize that there is a different level to different things altogether. So never get comfortable. If you feel comfortable where you are and you feel I have mastered this, I am done, just know you're not growing. You're stunted. You're stagnant. You need to break camp. You need to move. All right? Now, for some of us, when we hear the word purpose and role and calling, some of us don't know what they really are. But when we talk about the purpose is the reason for creating a thing. That is purpose. The reason for creating a thing. That the purpose of that bowl is to wash your hands. That the purpose of that table is to have, to set your drinks on something. The purpose, so the use, that is the purpose. And we all have a purpose as to why we were created. And sometimes our purpose is not even anything to do with why we went to school and what we studied in school. But some of us have that in our lives. The role, it's a set responsibility that God assigns you in a certain season. That in this season, you are going to help women. That in this season, you are going to open people's minds when it comes to their financial status, when it comes to their business. In this season, you're going to help people be able to get the gadgets that they need, but again, to also get the motivation that they need to live better lives. Those are roles, and roles keep advancing and changing. We never have one role altogether. For example, you will be one person and you have multiple roles as a person. Okay? And then there is a calling. The invitation for your participation in the reason for your creation. That is your calling, that you have been called. That yes, you have the purpose. The calling is the invitation for your participation. You are being invited to participate in the reason for your creation. Okay? And when you are called, you are set aside. That is why you don't have the same burdens like everyone else. Okay? That is why you will both be in a home, but you will feel a certain burden, or you will both be in a place and you will see the same problem. For example, have you ever been driving around Kampala? You both see the beggars on the road or the children that are begging, and for you it's like, but for another person, it's a source of crying and tears. But how are they here? How do they sleep? How do they... You get it? Now, whenever you see that need, that is a calling for your participation, what are you going to do about that? The reason for your calling, maybe your purpose, was to rescue their lives. And so now, sometimes when you hear those things tugging at your heart, some of you have business ideas that have tugged at your heart for a very long time. Or certain ideas that have tugged at your heart, you cannot put it down. You've wanted to put it down, but you cannot put it down. You just love going to schools and speaking to those children. And sometimes you're thinking, if someone had spoken to me, maybe I would have been better than I am right now. So now I'm not going to put it down. I'm going to speak to them and speak to them. So now that calling is the participation, okay? So your ability to keep saying yes to the roles is how you complete your purpose. Your ability to keep saying yes. That now, do you know why people do events? Now those are roles. That when someone, you feel the need, you sit down and you're like, you know what? We need to create, to do, let me just give an example. The coach experience. Do you know that we pay money to have the coach experience? Okay? But we will call people free of charge. Maybe we would have charged them 10,000 or 20,000, but for us this is a calling, okay? A calling to be able to give and call greatness out of people's lives. So now, the ability of saying yes, that we know we are going to part with 10 million shillings to have one event, and we would have used that 10 million shillings for something else, maybe in our home, but we are like, you know what? We are willing to spend it for strangers and people we don't know to come and sit in one auditorium, and we speak for 4 hours or 5 hours, and we will go away satisfied in our hearts that we did our role. We played our role. And you can never know that where that investment goes. That 5 years from now, there are people that have given us testimonies, and they're like, you guys, you don't know what you did in my life. The time I was about to commit suicide is when I turned on and I had the radio program, and I have never looked back in my life. The time that I was giving up on my studies, the time I was giving up, and sometimes you're like, are these things happening? Yes, they are happening. They are. So you're going to save so many people, and chances are you have saved so many people, but those people will never come to you to even appreciate or even tell you. But they're reading. They are watching. They are consuming your posts. They are consuming your content. And by the way, your heart's desires should be that even if it is one woman or one man whose life has been turned around, that is enough. Okay? Even if it is one man that did not commit suicide, at least there is a child that has a father in their home. There is a woman that has a husband in their home. Don't you think that is a reason for jubilation? Don't you think that that is enough reason for God to call you and place that burden on you, to want to co-create with him? That is enough reason, all right? So never question your calling, the ability to keep saying yes. I want you to keep saying, when God says, when you feel the need to write a journal, to make a journal, for people to be able to do something, that is God saying, that is a role. So your willingness to keep saying, yes, I will create this journal. Whether you don't know whether people are going to buy it or not, you create the journal, all right? Your willingness to say yes to writing a book and saying that I am going to research about this. I know so many people are going through this. I am writing. Now, that is a role of being an author. And so your continued saying yes to those roles is what fulfills your purpose as a person. That is the use as to why you were created. That you will show many out of darkness where they are to the light. That they will live fulfilling lives. That they will live better lives. That certain children that have been, let me say, molested will be given hope. That you cannot just stay there. You know, there is a lot more that you can go to school, you can be a president in this country, you can be anything that you want. Some people just need encouragement. Okay? So those burdens and those roles, when you say that, you know what, on Friday I am going to a certain school, that is you saying yes. Yeah? That is you saying, yes, I am here. I have reported for service. Let me speak to this one particular person. We've gone to some of those schools and the kids will tell you, the border man that takes me to school uses me before delivering me to school. Yes. Some of them have opened up and saying, my stepfather uses me every night. And one of them said that his stepfather gives Valium to the mother so that he can sleep, so that he can use her every night. Rape her. They are in school. Why the parent is buying butter shoes and buying mberenge and doing grab and taking, some of the parents do not know how sick their children are. They do not know how frustrated, how exhausted they are, that they are giving up on their own lives. There are students that have gone to school, na kugamba, I took an overdose so that I can die. And she's in senior one. So if you look for a reason and say, you know what, all I want is to look cute, no. God's calling and your next level assignment is not about looking cute. Your next level assignment is about rescuing endangered lives. Is bringing hope to the hopeless. Is holding hands to those that are weary and they have given up. Is to help them to rekindle and to pray over them that God will give them the strength to live to see one more day and another day, to put one step in front of another. That is your calling. That is your assignment. All right? So it's heavy. It's not as simple. You're going to speak and sometimes you're going, but are they hearing? Do they even see what I am doing? Is it even is it causing any significance? By the time we answer such questions, I remember that principal of that school was like, you know what? We don't have children in school. We have mature people. Like, seriously. Like, these are not students. That in our age and era, now even the principals don't know what to do because the principal comes to a school and they have their own problems. So they also need deliveries and rescuing. How are they going to rescue these students? So when God says, who will go for us? Your answer should be, I will go. Here I am. Send me to those women. Send me to the people that are giving up. Send me to those that are dying. Okay? It's a dying world out there, guys. It's a dying world out there. And then there are people who tend to be territorial in serving people. Okay? Territorial by meaning that, you know what, I am the one who is doing this the best in Kampala or the best in Uganda. And then when someone goes from one place to another, and then one of the pastors or the leaders in that place feels the need of saying, now you see, he has gone out of this place. Let's see how their end will be. Now that is being territorial. That means you are not a servant. A servant is not supposed to complain about who they are serving. They're like, if this one has gone to the other person's service, so be it. It's possible that their service is the other side, and God will go to bring people that are going to be under my service. Do you know that people do not belong to us? They do not. They belong to God. Okay? So never be territorial and say, you know what, but these people are supposed to be mine. Guys, you guys are going to create communities of people. And guess what? You will see people that are going out of your community into another community, and chances are maybe they have outgrown there. Or chances are maybe they are, what is it called? They are being scavengers, or they are touring the territory. Like, let me go and listen to the other side and see what they have to offer. And then when they go, that is when sometimes they discover, all along I was supposed to be this side, let me come back. Now when they come back, some people start preaching about them. So do you see how sometimes tuwe will say as servants, okay? Because we are called to servanthood. Yours is to say, yes, I am here. I am going to speak to these women. And sometimes some people are going to come when they are so hungry for the information you have to offer. And guess what? After 1 month, they will feel like they are way better and they don't need you. Have you ever treated someone and then they felt like balamunyo and they're more wise than you now? And they're even questioning everything that you are telling them. Now, your job is not to tell them, but you came here while you were dying, and then I'm the one who helped you. And then all of a sudden, No. You're supposed to be a servant with a servant's heart. You should actually pray for them that they get what they are looking for in life. Okay? That they get what they are looking for in life. Your job actually should be like, you are the rivers of a living water, and then you keep moving. You're not supposed to be a pond that gathers mosquitoes and stays stagnated in one place. That, oh, now this is my territory. No, this is not your territory. It's not your world. It's not your country. Even people in business have had territorial sometimes. You know, I was the one serving this client, but now what? You see, when you are down there, and let me tell you, when they come for parts, you handle them so well. You share them the parts, and you know the spare parts, and then sometimes you even give them a mabanja. And guess what? Enkera nebagenda nebagule woli atawola, talina nampisa. And then all of a sudden, kale katulabe je banakoma. No. You're supposed to stay humble and say, those that are supposed to be served by me are going to come to me. So my job is, how can I create more awareness? How can I serve with diligence? How can I serve so that people can even refer people to me? When someone I'm going to buy spare parts, get this number, this lady will really help you. That means you served them so well that even after they go to another person, they're like, you ask me, I tried everywhere. I went trying so and so, even so and so, but let me tell you, I ended up going back to the first person I left. You realize why? Because you were sober enough that when they came back, you still had the same banter and the same jokes like you were always joking. When they come back, you didn't say, nalimanyi wagenda. Kati church koze echi biaganye. And you get it? Do you know, like, as servants, we should be there to, let me tell you, we are working with wounded people. We are not seeing their wounds, but we are working with wounded people. And in some degree, we are also wounded. Okay? So, I don't want you, and you know why sometimes we hold on to people? It's because it feels safe and we want validation from those people. If this person keeps coming to me, that means I am good. You are looking for validation. You're not serving. You're not helping anyone. So, let's not look for validation. Let's not use people for validation. They are not there to validate us. We are there to serve them, period. And move on swiftly, okay? So, you are only as useful as your last yes. You are only as useful as your last yes. Otherwise, if this time something tugs at your heart to begin something or to do something, and you're like, but how are they going to see it? You know, some of us, we even fear doing events, and you're like, now, people are going to say, I've just started in this industry, I'm doing an event. Do it. Let 5 people turn up. You get it? Yeah. Do it. That is, you are only as useful as your last yes. So if you said yes to signing up for a certain course, you are only as useful as that yes. Otherwise, if something tugs at you and then you're not able to do it, some of us, by the way, have told me, I think it's last week, no, actually this very week, someone was telling me, you know what, I decided I do this course, minus telling my husband about it, minus telling anyone in my life about it. So you realize this person said yes, and there are so many of us that have said that, or so many people that have said, they said yes, because they thought maybe people are going to bash at me, maybe, and so they were wise enough, they were like, on Tambli Amaka City. And after God has lifted me, you are going to see me. And you're going to say, like you always were gifted in such a way. But if I had told you I'm gifted, you would say, Kajanja. But now, let my gift grow to a place where it's undeniable. So that when you see it, you will also want to eat of its fruits. So you are only useful as your last years. And if safety is a prerequisite for obedience, then you have limited a degree and a dimension under which God can use you. And I'm ending there. That if safety is a prerequisite, as in if you're telling God, don't send me where it is not safe, that means you're telling him, do not ever send me. So if safety and feeling good and feeling praises from people and them putting clothes down and so that you can walk, you being given donkeys and you're not being placed on a pedestal and white horses and someone saying, oh, you are our man of this season. If that is the prerequisite for your obedience or for your saying yes, then you have limited God from using you, or you have limited your calling, you have limited your assignment and your roles. I love you guys, but safety should never be a prerequisite. So whatever you get from this is your next level and your next dimension is not safe. It is not familiar waters. It is uncharted territory. So you might crawl into it a bit timid, but let me tell you, soon you are going to get used, and still you will look for more challenges and you look for harder things, and the better you grow, the bigger you grow, and the more people you actually save and redeem and help in this world. That's your next level assignment.